All right, get ready to cringe a little because today we are taking a deep dive into the wonderful world of bad movie endings.
Oh,
Specifically, bad sci-fi movie endings.
my favorite.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Everyone hates a bad ending.
Especially in sci-fi, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
We got an article here from Collider.com called 10 Worst Sci-Fi Movie Endings Ranked. And we are just gonna jump right in.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about why bad endings are so frustrating.
You know, it's interesting because, well, a bad ending is a bad ending, right?
Yeah.
No matter the genre. But with sci-fi,
Yeah.
you're kind of signing this contract.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, okay, I accept that these aliens can teleport.
Right.
Or I accept that this character can travel through time.
Yep.
And you do that because you're promised a certain payoff.
Exactly.
You're promised, you know, something that blows your mind, a thought-provoking resolution. And when you get to the ending and it just falls flat,
Yes.
the contract's broken. It's like, well, I sat through all this, and for what?
Exactly. It feels like a betrayal, almost.
It does.
Like you were promised something and then they didn't deliver. So let's look at the first one on this list.
Yeah.
This actually sparked a lot of debate in the comments.
Oh, interesting.
War of the Worlds from 2005.
Okay.
The Spielberg one.
Yep.
So just to quickly summarize, aliens invade, obviously.
Right.
Things are looking pretty bleak for humanity.
As they do.
And then the aliens are defeated by the common cold.
Oh, yeah. That was a choice.
I remember watching this in theaters and thinking, really? That's it.
Right.
That's how these advanced aliens are defeated.
It's one of those where if they had just taken a little bit more time to really think it through,
Right.
it could have been so much better. You know, you've got this whole buildup, this intense action,
Yeah.
and then it just fizzles out.
Yeah. And I did notice a lot of people saying, well, it's true to the book,
Yeah, I saw that too.
the H.G. Wells book.
That's where you get into this tricky area with adaptations, you know, right? Because just because something works in one medium, like a book,
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's going to automatically work on the screen.
Yes.
You have to, I think about it as a film,
Hmm.
you know? Like, is this satisfying cinematically? Not just, oh, is it what happened in the book?
Right. Like, does it make sense within the world that the film has created? And I'm not so sure that it does.
Me either, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if they're that susceptible to our germs,
Right.
were they ever really a threat?
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't they have, like, spacesuits or something?
Yeah. Some kind of protection.
You would think so.
It really undercuts the tension of the whole film.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what the point of it all was.
And then there was that one commenter, anyway, who pointed out how the sun, like, miraculously survives everything.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. Sometimes you just get the feeling that they kind of forgot about their own rules.
Right.
You know, like they established this world where these aliens are super dangerous,
Right.
but then they just let the kid run around like it's no big deal.
It's not very consistent.
No, not at all.
So, moving on from War of the Worlds, there were a few other endings in this article that they really tried to be shocking.
Okay.
Like, they wanted to have this big twist that left the audience reeling,
Right.
but they ended up feeling really predictable and, honestly, kind of cliche.
Yeah, you see that a lot, unfortunately. Like they're trying to pull the rug out from under you, but you see it coming a mile away.
Exactly.
And then you're just left feeling disappointed, not surprised.
Lice from 2017 is a good example of this.
Oh, yeah. That one was rough.
Starts out really strong. They've got this creepy alien creature.
Right. Super intense.
The tension's building. And then, bam! Surprise, the alien makes it to Earth.
Right. It's like, oh no, the sequel's coming.
Exactly. It felt so unoriginal. Like they just ran out of ideas and thought, well, this is the easiest way to end things on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. It's a shame because the movie had so much potential.
It did.
The creature design was great. The acting was solid.
Yeah, it was scary.
It was genuinely scary at times.
But then that ending just kind of, like, deflated everything.
Yeah, it just felt like a cheap way to try and get people talking.
And I'm not even sure it worked.
Probably not.
I feel like most people just rolled their eyes and said, okay, whatever.
Pretty much. Like, we've seen this before. Move along.
Exactly.
And speaking of unoriginal endings, can we talk about Knowing?
Oh, Knowing.
The Nicolas Cage masterpiece? Or maybe not.
This one starts out as this, like, really intriguing conspiracy thriller.
Okay, I'm listening.
Nicolas Cage is decoding these mysterious numbers, trying to figure out what they mean.
Right, I remember that part. It was actually pretty good.
It was genuinely creepy and suspenseful.
Yeah, I was hooked.
And then, well, things take a turn.
What kind of turn?
It goes from conspiracy thriller to, like, full-blown biblical apocalypse, angels, a global flood, kids being whisked away to safety. It was wild.
Hold on. So we're going from secret codes to Noah's Ark in the same movie.
Yeah, it was like two completely different films mashed together.
Wow, that's a choice.
And I remember reading some comments where people were defending it, saying it was unique and ambitious.
I mean, I guess it was unique in a way.
Right.
But ambitious doesn't always equal good.
No, it doesn't.
And for me, it just felt so jarring, like the movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be.
Yes. And it ended up being neither a good conspiracy thriller nor a good biblical epic.
Exactly. It just felt muddled and confusing.
Okay, so we've talked about endings that are just bad, and we've talked about endings that are predictable.
Right.
Now let's move on to a category that I think might be even worse. Endings that are so ill-conceived, so illogical that they make you angry.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The ones that make you want to throw something at the screen.
Yes. It's like the filmmakers are just slapping you in the face.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all.
Like they're saying, we don't care about your time. We don't care about your investment in these characters.
And I Am Legend with Will Smith is a perfect example of this.
Okay, explain.
So he's this lone survivor fighting off these terrifying creatures, trying to find a cure.
Right, I remember that movie.
And he's got these two other survivors with him, right? And he finally figures out the cure.
Okay, so far so good.
But then these creatures attack their hideout. And Will Smith, to protect the others, sacrifices himself in a heroic explosion.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And it's just like, why?
Yeah, it never made sense to me either.
He could have easily tossed the grenade and escaped with the others.
Exactly. It's not like he was trapped or anything.
Right. He just chooses to die for, what, a more dramatic ending?
It's like they sacrificed logic just for a cheap emotional moment.
And it doesn't even work because it's so dumb that you're just sitting there thinking, well, that was stupid.
Yeah, you're not even sad. You're just frustrated.
Exactly. You're like, they just killed off the main character for no reason.
And you know what's even more frustrating?
What?
Apparently, the film had an alternate ending that actually made sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where he escapes with the others and they all live.
Well, why didn't they use that ending?
Who knows? Maybe they thought it wasn't dramatic enough.
Or maybe they just wanted to set up a sequel.
Which, by the way, is happening.
No.
Yeah, and they're supposedly using the alternate ending for the sequel.
Well, that's something, I guess.
At least they're trying to fix their mistakes.
I just wish they had done it right the first time.
Don't we all?
So speaking of sequels, sometimes they can actually make a bad ending worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like you think it can't get any worse, and then they release a sequel that just completely ruins everything.
And sometimes they try to retcon things, you know?
Right, like, oh, that character didn't actually die.
Or that ending was all a dream.
Which just makes it even more frustrating.
It's like they're insulting our intelligence.
And sometimes they use the sequel to set up a whole new set of problems.
Oh, absolutely. Like, okay, you thought that ending was bad. Just wait till you see what we have in store for you next.
And that brings us to Star Trek Generations.
Oh, no, not Kirk.
I know. Killing off Captain Kirk was bad enough.
It was a crime against humanity.
But the way they did it.
Yeah, that was just, like, disrespect.
Like they didn't even care.
They just tossed him aside like he was nothing.
And that whole time travel element.
Ugh, don't even get me started on that. It was so convoluted and nonsensical.
It was like they were trying to be clever, but they just ended up confusing everyone.
Including themselves, probably.
I mean, Kirk is an icon.
A legend.
His death should have been this huge, momentous event.
It should have been the emotional climax of the film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But instead, it felt like an afterthought.
Yeah, like they were just trying to get it over with as quickly as possible.
And then, to add insult to injury, they bring in this new captain.
Who was just a pale imitation of Kirk.
It was like they were trying to replace the irreplaceable.
Which is impossible.
Exactly. You can't just replace Captain Kirk.
And you certainly can't do it with some random guy who just shows up out of nowhere.
It just felt wrong.
It did. It felt like they were spitting on the legacy of the character.
And on the fans who loved him.
Yeah, it was a slap in the face to everyone who had invested in the Star Trek universe.
You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
It's that?
A lot of these bad endings stem from a lack of respect.
Oh, I totally agree. A lack of respect for the characters, for the story, and for the audience.
It's like they're saying, we can do whatever we want and you'll just have to deal with it.
And that's not how it should be. Filmmakers need to understand that they have a responsibility to the audience.
Yes.
To tell a compelling story, to create characters that we care about, and to give us an ending that feels earned.
Because we invest a lot in these stories.
You do. We give them our time, our attention, our emotions.
When they betray that trust,
It hurts.
It does. It feels like a personal attack.
And it makes us less likely to trust them in the future.
Exactly. Which is why it's so important to call out bad endings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to hold filmmakers accountable.
And let them know that we deserve better.
Because we do. We deserve stories that respect our intelligence, our emotions, and our time.
So let's keep fighting the good fight.
To the bitter end.
To the bitter end.
Even if that end is terrible.
Even if it's a USB drive.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
I'm just saying, we've got a lot of work to do.
We do. But hey, at least we're in it together.
Right. Misery loves company.
Exactly.
So if you're out there and you've suffered through a particularly bad sci-fi ending.
Or any bad ending, really.
Yeah, any bad ending, let us know.
We want to hear your pain.
Because sharing is caring.
And maybe, just maybe, by talking about these things,
Yes.
we can make a difference.
We can inspire filmmakers to do better.
To give us the endings we deserve.
The endings that make us think, that make us feel, that stay with us long after the credits roll.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll even get a sci-fi ending that doesn't involve aliens being defeated by the common cold.
One can only dream.
A dream worth fighting for.
Absolutely. That's it for this deep dive into the world of bad sci-fi movie endings.
Thanks for joining us.
And remember, keep watching the skies. And maybe keep a close eye on those screenwriters too.
Oh, definitely. They need all the help they can get.
All right, until next time.
Stay curious.